If you love classic cars, then Donald loves you.
So, Antonio, we are riding in an Aston Martin.
I already feel like James Bond.
Well, interestingly enough, this car probably is more related to Ian Fleming's James Bond than Cubby Broccoli's James Bond, because Ian Fleming's James Bond drove a Bentley.
That's very
big
true.
Vintage Bentley, so
That is very true.
this is very Bond James Bond.
Well, to the untrained eye, this would look like a pre-war Bentley.
Exactly, a miniature version thereof.
Yes.
And it's so funny to think of the fact that Aston Martin, which is a mark today known in Formula One,
Yes.
and of course for great GT cars,
Yes.
really is a brand. First of all, it's very old, founded in 1913, and has been through a number of owners,
Yes, it has.
sort of like Lamborghini and Lotus.
Yes, it has.
A lot of other brands, and it's a testament to the brand and what it has stood for and what it stood for when it was founded, that it still makes sense. You know, you say Aston Martin and you think sports car.
Oh, absolutely. I think Aston Martin has such a level of respect for it. So many people will have opinions about cars, but I feel like you never really hear anything necessarily bad about an Aston Martin car itself. Maybe not the company, but when I hear Aston Martin, I think of James Bond, and I think of something cool and someone who's sleek and well put together and tailored, whereas this is more of an Aston Martin race car.
Exactly, and that's the point that, you know, we frequently forget when driving very capable and comfortable modern Porsche 911s.
Yeah.
Sort of where Porsche started, in very lightweight, very nimble and tossable race cars, and it's the very same for Aston Martin.
Absolutely.
This is a 1934 1.5 liter Aston Martin Mark II, the direct relative of the great Aston Martin Le Mans cars, which were known for their class victories 4 years running.
Yeah.
At Le Mans, and these are cars that offer an amazing driving experience, very close to that the works drivers experience at Le Mans and at Spa and at the Nürburgring and at Brooklands in the UK. It's this is a car that. Sorry, go ahead.
And the tour of Virginia that we're doing right now.
Exactly. The Giro di Virginia.
Excellent. Yes. Yes.
It is a really neat thing. I love this car, as you can probably tell by the grin on my face. I just love cars like this that are just so alive.
Oh yeah. I mean, it seems incredibly direct, and I mean it's a short wheelbase, so it's very darty, but it seems like it handles really, really well. I mean, I'm on the correct side of the car, but I don't have a steering wheel, so it's a bit odd to be in this position. But it seems like everything is I mean, the steering wheel is large, obviously, as a pre-war car, but it seems like everything is where it needs to be. The position of the gear shifter is a bit odd, but I feel like you could get used to that. But it seems like it's a short throw shifter. I mean, it really is a fast little sports car, that's for sure. And it's got some go too.
It's got a lot of go, and again, it's one of those things that really speaks to me, and I think you came to respect and understand when we did the Mille Miglia together in that 1940 Miata.
Yeah.
This car is 76 horsepower.
Wow. Wow.
But it's a 76 horsepower, 100 mile per hour car.
That's crazy.
So
I would not want to do 100 miles an hour in this car. It'd be scary.
But you know, it's one of those things that you feel what the car is doing at every moment. This is not a car that's going to surprise you.
That's true. Yeah, it's very connected. I mean, we're feeling every bump in the road. Probably something that a lot of modern cars are lacking is that true feeling with the in your seat and through the steering wheel, and that's what makes it fun. It adds to the experience.
Yeah, and also if you think about a car like this Aston Martin, everything is built the way it is for a reason. You know, you see lots of sports cars with cut down doors.
Yeah.
These doors are cut down because I need to put my arm there. Otherwise, they can't drive the car.
Well, I'm keeping my arms in because it's freezing. So I'm trying to get as much body temperature as possible.
Yeah, I'm wearing my blazer. I probably should have put my tweed jacket on for this one. I certainly am missing my tweed hat to drive this very English sports car. Now, of course, the Brits would say that we're absolute chickens because we're driving with the top up, or the hood as they would call it.
We should have it down. That is true. We should have it down.
But no, we're wimpy Americans and we want the protection from the elements.
Absolutely.
But when you think about what these cars meant to the Aston Martin brand, this is the model that really established the brand. This particular model they only made 186 of.
Wow.
And
rare.
It's rare and wonderful, greatly appreciated. They made a 2-liter version of this as well, which was the all-out racing
very
car.
fast.
Yeah, that's the flyer. But even this 1.5 liter is certainly a car that is eminently capable. And of course, a road like this is very much a road that it would feel at home with.
Oh, absolutely.
These are the roads like they have in England, where this car was first built and used.
Absolutely. I think styling-wise as well, it's very pretty. I think this color is great. Normally, when you think Aston Martin, you would think of a silver or a gray
or
green, like the car that Carroll Shelby won in. That was green, right?
That was green. Yeah. Aston Martin had a very, very particular sort of light metallic racing green that was stunning.
This seems a lot more Alfa Romeo to me.
Funny you should mention that, because a lot of what this car is was taken from the Alfa Romeo 50, or inspired by, let's say, the Alfa Romeo 1500 and 1750s.
Okay, I could see that. I mean, even with the chrome accents, and then how you can see the exhaust pipe coming out of the side of the hood. That's cool. Again, I think maybe we were mentioning a little bit earlier, but there's a lot of passion with this kind of stuff, especially when it's built by hand, and everything is an experience. Even opening up the hood. Now you just press a button and it's like, okay, we're open. But with this, you have to be careful to not scratch the paint and bring it up a certain way, and you can actually see an engine. It's not a plastic cover.
That, and the fact, to go back to the Alfa Romeo connection, one of the things that made these Aston Martins so successful is also something that I talk about a lot, that whole go-stop ratio thing.
Yeah.
Although they didn't really think about stopping cars until the 1950s, Alfa Romeo really was a pioneer in braking technology, and this car has big Alfin finned drum brakes. When you look at the exterior of the car, the brake drum fills almost the entire wheel.
Oh, they're huge.
And they also have cooling fins so that they can dissipate heat from heavy use. So, you know, the car is designed for really serious motoring. And again, I'll just do this right now. I mean,
oh, it stops great.
It stops amazingly well.
It stops great. Now I have a question. Maybe this is a dumb question.
The answer is yes. The shift pattern is reversed.
The shift pattern is reversed, but it's not like that on modern right-hand drive cars. Because I was looking at it and I was very confused.
Why am I going for top gear?
Yeah, but I guess that makes sense though.
Right.
I feel like that's probably makes more sense than the way that it is now.
Exactly. Fabulous car.
Oh yeah, it sounds great. It's got such a nice little rumble to it.
Yeah. You think sort of spindly wheels, 1.5 liter. But it sounds, you know, to use an antiquated term, it's got a He-Man sound, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a little car, you know, sort of like a terrier, a really feisty terrier.
Yeah. No, it's great. I love it. Another thing what I like about a lot of these cars is body colored matched interior.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't see that on a lot of modern cars. And
No,
this looks great. I mean, the red is fantastic, the maroon is fantastic, and then the chrome really gives you a nice contrast on the inside with these gauges and matches the chrome on the exterior.
There's an expression for the trim on cars of this period. It's the jewelry, the car's jewelry.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. You know, it's like wearing the right watch and ring and bracelet with a great suit or sport coat. It really sets it off.
Well, I'm very Gen Z because I have an Apple Watch on.
Well, I'm wearing my...
Speaks to the theme.
Exactly. I'm wearing my Chopard Millimilia watch in honor of our great adventure. And as you may recall, I have a friend who we saw often during that Millimilia who was driving an Aston Martin Le Mans in 1932.
Yeah. And he was just on our...
on the Nashville rally.
On the Nashville rally with an Alpha.
Yeah.
That's cool, kind of coming full circle. The Audrain full circle. If you could race this car at any circuit, would it be Le Mans or would you want to drive it at some dream circuit that doesn't exist anymore?
Well, I think that probably would have been amazing at Brooklands, which doesn't exist anymore. Although also, you know what? Just having driven the circuit of the Targa Florio, I think this would be an amazing Targa Florio car. That
would be fun. This would be a great Millimilia car as well.
Yes. Provided the weather was right.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this top would stop most of the rain. I mean, you'd get a little wet on the side, but it's very connected. Very, very connected. This is perfect for those Italian, well, right as I say that, the big bump comes. But this is perfect for those Italian B roads through the hills and the countryside and in the mountains. This is exciting. My adrenaline is pumping in this. This is really fun.
Yeah, it's the kind of car that has enough grunt that you wouldn't really worry about those quick up and downhill moments.
Yeah. You can definitely feel that this has the perfect amount of horsepower for that, because it's not really one of those cars that you have to worry about carrying a tremendous amount of momentum into the turns. You can kind of be a little bit lazy and keep it in higher gear, maybe third, and just kind of let the power go through and use it to your advantage.
Yeah, you can be a bit more point and squirty.
Yeah.
With this car, certainly more than the Miata. The other thing about this car that I find so appealing is the fact that it feels very controllable. It's a great size.
It seems like
small, but not so small that we're up against each other.
No.
Not like it being in a Morgan or in a little MG midget.
There's plenty of headroom as well. I mean, we're not very tall, but there's a decent amount of room up here. And
you can wear your hat.
Yes, and I don't feel constricted at all in here. And what I like, especially with today being cold, is the tunnel that we have here. The transmission tunnel is getting nice and warm. So I have my legs pressed up against that.
Yeah,
free heater.
The heat soak is something that you want in an English sports car. We often complain about it in Austin Healey's, but it can be very useful when it's cool and damp. But the other thing, which is so interesting, we talk about the characteristic of the interior and the ride, is again the fact that these seats are also very comfortable.
Yes, they are. They are. And what I kind of like about there's not really much bolstering on them, but the door and also your shoulder acts as extra bolsters.
Exactly.
So we're not really moving around a crazy amount in here. It does seem very quick though. Like it really does want to go.
Yeah.
It's kind of begging you for more.
The only sort of ergonomic nightmare is this windshield wiper motor.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm wearing these gloves because you could really do your knuckles in on that.
Oh, absolutely. I can't get over how good the brakes are.
The brakes are great. The handling is astonishing. I mean, it's just really
Even in
such a handy car.
Even in a higher gear like this, it has enough power to just kind of get through it and keep going.
Fill pulls. And this is a fun road for a car like this. Hopefully we don't run into any other traffic. Because this is really the kind of road this car is meant for.
This kind of reminds me of a Miata.
Yes.
Like it reminds me of the first generation Miata. It actually sounds similar.
Well,
but it has.
I'll tell you a reason for that. Think about this line. It's an Aston Martin. It's a small British sports car.
What the Miata was
Colin
intended
Chapman
to be.
was very inspired in building the Lotus by these Astons.
Yeah.
And the Miata is inspired by the Lotus Elan.
Yeah.
So there is a direct line between this and the Miata.
Absolutely.
You can pick that up quite well.
Yeah, even from the passenger seat, it really does feel like a first generation Miata, especially with, I don't know, just really the sound of the engine, but with my butt cushion here, it feels like that on a bumpy road and kind of that fun nature and it's not the biggest car in the world, but it feels like you're going a million miles an hour and it's just all around fun.
I thought of another track that'd really be a lot of fun to haul this around, and that's Lime Rock.
Yeah, I was thinking Lime Rock before.
Yeah.
I recently drove Lime Rock with the new Porsche 992 Carrera GTS, which is totally different than this, but the elevation changes of Lime Rock and kind of how you're not really using your brakes a crazy amount there. You're kind of lifting off the throttle and letting the car settle and then powering through. I feel like that would be a lot of fun with a car like this.
Absolutely. I remember quite vividly the story I tell too often. In my last vintage race car, my Crosley Hot Shot Special, I used the brakes once coming out of the pits. After that, it was all throttle.
That's awesome. That's always fun when you're driving or riding a slower vehicle, whatever it is, and you have less horsepower, but you still humiliate the bigger vehicles because you're using more strategy and more racecraft to go faster around the track.
Exactly. I'll never forget being passed by a Ferrari 212 Marchetta in my Crosley, only to have the Ferrari outbrake himself into Big Bend, and I sailed around and waved. Said, you're gonna have to do this all again next lap. Sorry.
Did you wave like this?
I did the old Formula One.
It's a shame that with the way that things are going, there are so many four-cylinders out there that just sound like nothing. And I think people think badly of four-cylinders, but you can actually make a really good noise out of one.
Some of the world's greatest engines are four-cylinder engines.
Yeah.
Well, this is an astonishing car and a great example of how a mark makes its mark. I mean,
I agree.
This established Aston Martin and is as satisfying and entertaining a drive today as it was back in the mid-1920s. Maybe even more so, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
We don't get it every day.
No. It kind of sounded like you were beginning to have a tenuous connection there.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Just keep watching the Audrain Museum Network and you never know what's going to turn up next.
Absolutely. And always remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. That was fun.
Yeah. Did I say it again? I love this car.
That's great.